How'd I ever think I could do this show without you?
Oh, thanks for the sentiments, Sly.
I'm talking to the fucking bear, you idiot.
Is he still a thing?
He is vuffing.
Yeah, where were you last week, you fucking clown?
Welcome to the Collingwood Rant. I'm Sly.
And I'm fuck it's hot down here, Spook. You're here in GTV 12.
I think we should call the bear Lockie.
Why? Lucky Bear?
Yeah.
Or Lucky Schultz?
Get in mind,
He's small and insignificant?
he's not insignificant.
No, he's not. He's carrying the side.
He cost me 2 picks.
Two, which ones? Well, one on each nostril?
Nah, my partner and some money. I was glad to give up the money though. Alright.
What?
We fucking lost. Not
we?
just lost, we got humiliated.
We can't have lost because Collingwood had me believing we were going to be a force to be reckoned with
Top
this year.
three.
Top three?
Yeah.
Top three of 712.
Yep.
What went wrong? Have you analysed this game? Did you watch it?
Hang on, I'm going to take a step back.
Oh, all right. Well,
Round zero, is it working?
Are you talking about the dinosaurs?
Yeah, round zero.
Well, the dinosaurs are still playing for Collingwood, you see.
Round zero. What do you think of round zero as a concept?
It would just fuck it off. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. What a fucking joke. What a stupid concept. It's,
That's why we lost.
yeah, that and not kicking enough goals.
Oh, that too. And when they said round zero, I think they thought they were referring to the scoreline.
Did Collingwood sign up for 2 years of round zero?
I believe so.
Do you think it impacts their off-season or pre-season training, their development and all that to start a week early? I know like people will say, well, what's a week? But we'll fucking see in a week's time.
One of my mates made a really good point today in a message, and that ties into this.
I find this really hard to believe. You have mates?
We haven't played a game of football since August. We've had all this time to fucking prepare, and that's what we dish up?
Yeah.
And the cramping and all that sort of stuff, you've never seen the like of it.
Yeah, I mean, Nick had
you see cramps from time to time, but they were dropping like Spanish flies.
Nick had the modified program because of the foot problem.
Well, that one you sort of probably...
And it was hot. I mean, what I find baffling when jumping ahead...
It wasn't as hot as down here.
Yeah, is that McRae kept him on and then subbed off Hoskin Elliott.
Yeah, look, at the time that really that shit me because Nick was just ineffectual. He was... Did you see he arrived to a contest 6 days late in one of them?
Yeah.
And he was hobbling. You think, well, obviously they must think that leaving him out there is better, but surely if you just want him moving, have him walk fucking laps. He's your number one commodity. Why would you risk... I don't think you could do any muscle damage from cramps, but I know when I fucking cramp, the muscle hurts for about a day or two. But we are old, and he's one of the few that isn't.
But the thing is, I don't know if cramp muscles have a greater proclivity to tear, but you'd think that hobbling around isn't going to be healthy for him in general.
No, well, nothing's working there because I think they were working on upper shoulders and stuff at one stage, which is obviously, it's all connected.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a song about it,
Yeah, thanks, Potsy.
So you think that they obviously thought he was going to work it out. Not work it out, but as in work through it or something. Because apparently, I think, was it our friend, a good friend of the Rant Turts, was saying today that it was Hoskin Elliott that he's back.
Did he?
Yeah, I mean, he must have heard it running through the banner. Because he didn't do much else. He missed shots on goals, but that's not a speciality at Collingwood.
Well, as the guys I was watching the game with said, when you see someone cramp, it doesn't just resolve itself.
Not even with the pickle juice.
It just... No, I mean, once you start cramping, you cramp. That's it, So, keeping him out there when it's hot, and we're in a situation now where we're, 4 or 5 goals down. And then we have to...
Yeah, exactly right.
And it's if his preparation has been impacted by injury or whatever the case, wouldn't you say, hey, let's start him at a half forward and then get him to attend a few clearances rather than just let's throw him in the middle? I'm actually really sort of disappointed in the coaching this game. I thought it really had, it smacked of, well, this worked last year, so let's do it again. And there was no real innovation. You threw Perriman in there. He was sort of okay. But you just looked at that midfield setup. I mean, He's actually the player of the week. You know, in the social media, they're highlighting Darcy Cameron. You were on fucking Lockie Keefe. How you didn't play a game like Polly Farmer. You stood there and you got wrestled, and you allowed him to wrestle you instead of sort of going, well, maybe I'll jump over him. That was as bad a game as I saw as when Brodie Gundy was playing and statistically getting all the taps, but impacting fucking nothing.
Yeah, he should have dominated. Really dominated the hit out stuff. I don't know. He obviously got the numbers, but again, it's again like the argument we had with Brundy years ago. It's the effectiveness of it.
No, he's done nothing.
Yeah, you put nothing to advantage. But just taking a step backwards, you take Nick out of that midfield. There is no midfield.
Well, this goes to another thing. It's last year what they really showed. And I know last year it was a result of the injuries of the Goey and Mitchell being out and Pendles being out at times. You're really relying on this one kid to have a 30-35 possession game, kick a couple of goals, and if he does that, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, you haven't devised anything. Real interesting thing too, you look at that Sam Taylor just fucking was really good. You go to the Friday night game, the Sydney Hawthorn.
Yep.
Brass, really good. Meanwhile, Collingwood's going, let's moneyball a Frampton into this side, and hopefully he'll come good. He'll be as good as a Brass or whatever. Rather than identifying key commodities that you do really need, they've always gone for these left field selections, and it's just really, you're getting the return that you expect.
Yeah, look, I mean, you'd want to give some credit to GWS.
Oh, great.
They were very fucking good. A lot better than I thought they'd be. I mean, we went into this game probably a little bit cocksure, is that the right saying? Because they had a number of outs. I went in there confident. I even backed us to win, and you never bet on your own team. So I'll prove that yet again. I was pretty confident going in, but I think the thing is, you take the misses out of that first quarter, and we nailed some, or at least nailed half. We would have been thereabouts with them up until half time. But the signs started peeking out early when we got within a kick about 2/3 of the way through the second quarter. And I thought, oh no, we're actually starting to gel. We're looking a lot better. I think we dominated play for the bulk of that quarter, and all of a sudden it's just like we just stopped. And I don't think we stopped through any other reason that that's when fatigue just absolutely started to hit them all. Because when they came back out in the third quarter, you started to see the cramping and the slowing down. I didn't see GWS cramp at all, though. So maybe obviously they have a better brand of pickle juice. I saw them with those big barrels of those Polsky or Gorski chugging them down before they went onto the field. Do you think we should do that? Do you think we should probably have intravenous pickle juice?
What I'd really like to see us have is
a win.
Why not? But in terms of the way we played, it just seems it's like just boot it, try and win a contested ball, and then rush it forward. Whereas they had this beautiful overlap. When they got the ball, they just ran. They outran us.
Oh,
they had swarmed in numbers. I mean, there was a lot of times where I'm like, there's like 4 or 5 of them, and we've got like one guy there. So I actually thought the game plan was just, it's that typical chaos, but there was no intensity around the ball.
There was a couple of times where we ran it out, we linked up beautifully, and I think that was the intent. But
I think literally a couple of times.
They pressured, like nearly every contest was a 2-on-1, and that just shows how much gut running that they did. And I think they knew that against our old boys out there in the Zimmer frames, that they were going to win that running battle. I mean, you saw a number of times at any time that we started a run on, they either cut it off or they flooded numbers back into a follow. I mean, there were plenty of times there was 36 players in the forward line, and then they just run it back out pretty much unopposed. It was a little bit dispiriting the amount of times that you saw players just couldn't even make the chase.
Yep.
And again, I think someone on EB&W, not that I go there that often these days, made a good point about, you looked at the lackluster start we had this time last year, and you understood the reasons why. There really is no excuse this year. And that, I think, that game would have taken a lot of people by surprise, the way it panned out. I thought we were going to be a hell of a lot better than we were. Yeah, look,
at the beginning, I think if we scored those early ones, it really would have just been delaying the inevitable.
Oh, I think so too.
But having said that, McCreary, Schultz, Hoskin Elliott, these are fucking goals that you should be nailing.
No,
particularly McCreary and Schultz. This is what you're there for.
I think it was the Schultz one or McCreary. I think it was the Schultz one where he fucking missed from straight out.
It's 30 metres straight out.
Ball's gone up the other end, and it was a Callum Brown.
They got the next free, I think, from memory.
He's fucking kicked it from the boundary straight through, and it's like, why don't you give me a fucking paper cut and pour lemon juice in at the moment?
Yeah, it's you got. I mean, McRae talked a little bit about the inaccuracy, but like Vow inaccurate also. So
Was he looking at the wrong camera when he said it?
You know what he said that surprised me. He told us that we're a work in progress.
He
We should have it. He said that.
In all honesty, I haven't listened to the presser. Did he say it?
Yeah, he goes, we're a work in progress. It should be a drinking game. When he says we're a work in progress, skull. It's as bad like you...
My liver just started to wake.
It's seriously... Remember when Buckley was coaching, he'd always go...
I don't want to remember.
But he'd always go, well, it's not our brand and all this sort of stuff.
It's not who we want to be.
Yeah,
we don't want to be perceived this way.
McRae's just starting to dole out these, there's, I don't know, fucking... This new agey sort of speak about like, oh, we're a work in progress and all that. We'll get better. We're going to work harder and all that sort of stuff. You know what I would have liked to see is just him to say we're fucking weren't up to it, because he actually did mitigate it too. He talked about not taking opportunities. There was good stuff there to look at it. I would be, because he's generally a positive guy. So I think if he's going to be negative, it's going to be more impactful. But that would be, and I hopefully did it behind closed doors. But he just said this is unacceptable.
I think so. There's a particular persona that you obviously display at these presses. Either it's the angry old man or it's the everything is wonderful. But I think what would be said behind closed doors would be a bit different. This is
I believe he said behind closed doors, we're a fucking work in progress.
This is a guy that came from immense success at Brisbane under Lee Matthews. You wouldn't come away without thinking, I think he yelled at me too much. It's had a detriment. We could actually probably won 6 flags if he hadn't yelled so much. I think you cop a lot of that stuff away from the cameras and all that sort of thing.
It's interesting. I mean, I don't know if it's true, but I heard a story years and years ago when Matthews was coach. It was toward the end of his tenure where he was really sort of losing it too. And allegedly, during a team meeting when Matthews was just going over all the shit that they did wrong, Tony Shaw stood up and goes, why do you always just have to look at all the negative stuff? So, I don't know if that's true or not, but it to me, it's like you got to have a varied approach, So Matthews, if you were screaming at all the time, imagine there's probably a point you just go, I can't be bothered playing for this guy anymore. Fuck it. But with McRae, if he just keeps spouting out the life coachy type stuff, we're a work in progress. We'll get better. It's like at a certain point that just becomes white noise also. So I'd be really interested in what he says behind closed doors.
The issue I have with that work in progress thing is, look, I get the sentiment, but the thing is, you won a flag 2 years ago. Surely once you achieve the ultimate goal, you can't get anything bigger in football. Haven't you achieved your purpose? You're no longer a work in progress. You've completed what you set out to achieve.
No,
you become an evolution from that point.
I think you'd be looking. You're constantly
Evolving.
working on yourself and evolve, and that's fine. But having said that, you talk about like there's all this buzz around what are we going to do, coming into the season, and it's all positive, and it's like, well, that's what we dial out. Looking at the side, I was really surprised. I'm a big fan of Ned Long. I don't know why you'd play him as sub though. Either he starts or he's in the VFL. He's not. What's he going to come on? Have an impact at 7 goals down? It's like a really strange choice as sub. And actually, when he came on, I thought he actually did pretty well. What they're really lacking is that big-bodied mid, and he's the one that I actually persevere with. I don't know where his ceiling is. I don't know what they rate his ceiling. And this is no offence to Ed Allen, but the thing with that Ned Long is when he's tackled, he stands up in tackles. He doesn't just fall. He doesn't panic. His disposal's a bit iffy, but if he's getting his handballs out, he has a look, even as he's got 2-3 guys hanging off him about what can I do with it. And I would have thought he'd be the ideal sort of player for this game, to try and be feeding the ball out to Nick and that.
How many senior games he played?
He hasn't played that many. He's been around for a little while. He was at Hawthorn, but he's still relatively a novice. He's a really big guy. You look at like Ed Allen. I thought there was a false economy in the way people rated him after we punched up on Melbourne last year, when Melbourne was just a fucking shot team. They had all these injuries, and Allen had a great game. You can only play who's out there, but it's still, in context, you're playing against an opposition that's not that great at that point. He's probably just looking forward to the season ending. And I thought Allen probably sort of, again, looked more like the guy who played against Fremantle last year, where it just looked a little bit too quick for him. He looked a little bit unsure.
I think at first, but I think he really got into the game a little better. It was a nice little passage where he took the ball at the centre bounce and burst. And I didn't think a bloke doesn't normally move that quick, but he just showed glimpses. I think some of his in close work, the way he was dishing the ball out, it very much was that bullocking inside bloke that you want for someone of that size. He really showed moments. I wasn't upset with his game. I thought, look, I'll take anything because I'm looking not so much into the next 12 months, but what are you going to show us over the next 4 to 5 years? And he's the one that I think even last week we put a line through, not a line through, a line under to say this is one of the guys we want to see given a lot of game time and keep his development going. He's only played a couple of games.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of like the midfield chemistry, I would rather see, look, Lipinski was unsighted. He wasn't the
better in the second half, but he was non-existent in the first.
Yeah, but I would rather.
Apparently, he had a lot of pickle juice.
I would rather that they really looked at it and said, "What's our midfield for the future?" And you're still relying on your side bottoms of Pendles.
Think about the future.
Yeah, thanks, Eka. But that is something that I would rather see Long and Alan start.
Yeah, I think you started to see the beginning at the end of Sidey and Pendles in the midfield. You back up mids, but they just looked really, really slow. And I know it's the start of the season, you can't hit the panic button or anything yet, but the amount of times Pendles has run down yesterday, and he's got to get back into the swing. You got people half your age running you down. I don't think that's anything to be disgraced by or anything like that.
The thing with Pendles, though, sorry to interrupt you, the thing with Pendles is for years he's sold this illusion of, he has the ball. You'll notice when he gets the ball, people listening on podcasts can't tell, but he tends to hold the ball out a couple of feet from his chest.
Just to fill in the people listening to the podcast, can you imagine you're at the doctor and he's about to cup your balls? That's what he's doing right now. Yeah. For those of you watching and still looking at the screen, you can confirm this.
But
put in the comments below, what the fuck were you doing?
No, but he holds
the
ball out.
You're holding the balls, yep.
But it's like players, the opposition around him
are
looking at him.
Cough at this time? No.
So opposition around him are looking at it and going, is he going to handball? And so they sort of keep their distance. They sort of zone and protect the zone because they're worried he's going to handball. And I think now opposition have realised this is a ploy he's done where he's selling the potential disposal to create space around him. And now they've been taught, just go at him. Go at him.
I think it's an element of that, but I think pretty much every time that we took the ball, GWS fucking tackled hard. Do you have the tackle stats?
No.
I know for one fact, I'll just bring it in because it's we're talking tackles suddenly. Apparently this is our lowest tackling game under McRae, but it didn't half showed. But I think GWS were relentless in the way that they hit us when we had possession.
But that's the thing too.
So I don't think Pendles should be singled out necessarily for that because I think everyone copped their whack.
But it's not I think one of the illusions, because I had a couple of people text me, Dad's Army, and I was like, fucking hell, seriously?
Oh, look, I'm only going on about it because it's inevitable. He's probably already done it, but Kane Corns will have the dick out.
Oh, he did. He talked about
straight into the age thing.
So let me put some context in this. Remember in 2023, we played GWS at MCG and we beat them by 12 goals.
When we weren't Dad's Army?
Well, we still were back then. So we beat them by 12 goals. You know what? Sometimes shit happens. It's not about age or a specific thing. If it keeps happening, then it is an issue. Sometimes, we fucking beat Port by 14 goals at one stage and they still made the 4 and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes this shit happens. The one thing that I really think people don't look at in terms of the context of Dad's Army, it's an old side, is you go back about to the 90s and that, teams very rarely had 2 30-year-olds running around out there.
No.
And in general, the league would have only a handful of 30-year-olds who played well into their 30s, like Bradley and Fletcher. So what I'm just saying is, players now are playing a lot longer, which means if the average age is 28, okay, but that's actually not as horrific as it might have been. No,
but it skews your averages too. I would imagine, there's not too many sides carrying it. Was he 38?
Yeah.
38-year-old. That stretches the average age out a little bit, wouldn't it? It's just the way maths works.
There's a few of them in side bottom, but that's the thing is, you got a number of guys who are in their 30s, and obviously they could all drop off. But I'm just trying to say, the range has changed from what it used to be. Now you're getting players playing into their 30s.
I think, but it also shows, and maybe this will be an evolution over the season, that you've really got to pick and choose your games in which some of these guys will play in. Because I don't think against the fast, young, hard-running sides that they're going to get found out a little bit more than they normally would.
But I think that is now falling on McRae to work out a better midfield dynamic than the ones he's got.
Well, that's exactly it.
And the thing is, Nick shouldn't be your first dibs midfield. He should be the guy who's getting fed the ball. So again, going along whoever you want to use, Alan or whatever, or both. You need to set up in the way that guys like, ranging from Nick Dacos to Josh Dacos to Lipinski and that, guys who have a little bit of pace, to feed them the ball so they can actually be the ones who are breaking the lines. I mean, it's a funny thing, when you're under pressure, everyone looks slow. But on the flip side, when, again, I'll go back to a couple of years ago when we smashed GWS, suddenly they look slow. Was it because of age? No, it's because, you're dominating them. So I think people run around and will frame this as, they're too old. And maybe that will be proven to be the case. But right now, it's just like, it's a one-off game.
Yeah. I think the fact that they were serving him soup at half-time didn't help that illusion either. I saw at quarter time they were playing bingo, a few of them.
Yeah,
it's not good.
One thing I would have really liked to see from McRae, and I called it during the game, is go play Hill in the midfield. Put him in the midfield, get some pace around the fucking ball.
Well, he tried that with Ellie. He threw him up there at the end to inject a bit of foot speed. You're putting another older bloke in there.
But he's doing this all too late. He's doing it when the horse is bolted.
Yeah, it's not like you're strategizing something. You're reacting to it. Too much. Yeah.
So what are you going to do to fucking change it up? And it's just ridiculous that he waits until... It's like the Titanic. It's like, maybe now we'll do something. And
I think through all the planning that would have gone into this game, then when we're talking going back over the last few months of training and all that sort of stuff, I don't think anyone would have expected this outcome. So this should hopefully force them to be in a little bit more of a better space for next week. I mean, if we do the same thing next week and produce that level of nothing, you'd almost say, well, at the moment we're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah,
I think this will force them to reevaluate where they're at.
I think, though, the biggest problem constantly remains Nick needs to get 35 possessions for us to win the game and for us to look good, and then everyone starts looking good around him.
Yeah.
And you need more playmakers, and that's something you can't moneyball. I'm not picking on Schultz for the sake of Schultz, but that pick, for a top 10 pick, which is ultimately what it became, that should have been spent on getting a really good midfield. I would have even said to fucking Richmond, well, you're going to take 6 years to rebuild. Here's a first-round pick for Taranto. You're not going to need him.
And the thing is, Schultz is going to be the whipping boy supreme this year for all those reasons. Not so much about what he doesn't do or how he does it or how he goes about it. It's everyone's looking and seeing that one fucking first round pick that we should have been in a second. Yep, flying away into the distance. It's a case of it's like the way that Josh Fraser was treated. If we took Fraser at pick 25, everyone would be singing how wonderful he was during his time, but he was always measured against that number one pick. And I don't think he would live to that expectation. And it's the same thing that Lockie's going to wear around his neck.
I feel bad for him because he's going to cop it so much because of the target Collingwood's painted on his back. One, by making that trade. But two, also, you have tried to massage it through PR last year. And, we lost in the putting him on social media and going, what a game from Lockie Schultz. It's like, I think we'd rather just see that you're fucking hurting that you lost to us and killed rather than promoting, hey, this pick came in and got a few tackles or whatever. They've really sort of set up a bar of expectation where he's going to be feeling a lot of pressure. Now, I don't know him at all, but he has to succeed not just once or twice. He has to constantly succeed. You can't really drop him because that's just probably going to totally psychologically destroy him. So you've really put him in a position where it's going to be extremely hard for him to find his way out of. And particularly if not him specifically, but if Collingwood has games like that where it's really taking the forwards out of it too, you're just going to make... it's like, who was good as a forward? I mean, Membry might as well still want us and kill the jumper for all the fucking efforts he put in yesterday. Sorry, I don't mean he wasn't trying, I just mean he was invisible for a lot of the game.
I'll give him one thing, he can kick the fucking ball straight when he gets the opportunity.
It was about, 7-8 minutes into the game, the guys I was watching, someone said, where's Membry? And I was like, fuck, that's right, he's playing. I have not seen him at all. But in terms of like the way we're playing, you just... I don't know. I think that's another thing too, is the synergy or the chemistry of that forward six doesn't work.
No, and how much time you got to give it. You want to be successful this year. How many games is it going to cost you if you can't convert?
Well, there's another thing too. I think the one thing with McRae since he's been coach is it's felt like they've really struggled to find a balance where all the forwards prosper. It's sort of 1 week, one will do something, and then the next week the other one will do something, but that previous one will be unsighted. Now, if it works, it works. But you go back to Jack Ginnivan's criticism of you had your little patch that you had to sort of mine and you didn't have the freedom to roam. And again, that's fine if it works. But I think when you have, it's not really that quick a forward line. Mycheck, Membry, McStay, they aren't quick. Schultz is quick-ish, but not really quick. The same with Elliott at his age. He's quick-ish. Hill's the only one that really has that sort of super speed. I mean, if Harrison was fit, I'd love to have him in there. Or that Jack Ginnivan guy. At least he could annoy the fuck out of people.
I think he annoyed the fuck out of Hawthorn supporters on Friday night.
They won. They're not going to care. Wish, Collingwood... Anyway, I won't get to that. I think they...
Excuse me while I de-pip.
Yeah, I think the chemistry of that back six forward six doesn't really work. The back six, how'd you view Reef McInnes's game?
Look, I thought of some of his efforts were quite good and encouraging, but I mean, fuck, this is the first time he's played a proper game in defence. I mean, unfortunately, if you want him to do this role and do it well, there's going to have to be a fair bit of slack cutting. I mean, your easy answer would be you get rid of him and bring Frampton in. I don't think Frampton would have done any particularly hugely better.
No, I mean, the way the ball was coming in, they were all under siege constantly. But you sort of look for those moments. You look for those times that you go for the mark or take the mark. I mean, Murphy showed those really early. On the flip side, there's a few times he just double fisted the ball, and it's like, fucking mark it.
Yeah.
Go for it. There's one time he did it on half forward. It's like, no, that's when you should go for the mark, because if it spills, you're 125 metres from their goal. But then on the last line of defence, he'll go for the mark. It's like, I think you need to work out when you're going to go for him, when you're not going to go for him.
Yeah.
But that, again, the chemistry of the back six didn't really work.
No, I think there was a disconnect across all three sections of the ground, though. There was just 4?
With the coach.
There was just nothing that seemed to click beautifully. There was moments where it looked good, but the finishing just let it all down. You're doing all that hard work, and then you fuck up a simple set shot. It's got to be demoralising too for people looking up the ground going, oh, fuck.
Well, I remember, sorry, this is going to be like a total left field thing, but in the documentary of the 1990 flag, Dennis Banks and Gavin Brown, they talk about that opening quarter where we just dominated and we could not score. And they were worried. It's like, what the fuck, we're trying and we just cannot score. And then Peter Dacos kicks that first goal, and then Gavin Brown says, oh, that's right, we've got this guy, he can do those things, and that sort of was a big relief. And that's the sort of thing you look at, like you're trying, you have these people just blowing it. How demoralising is that? It's a sort of thing like football's a game of moments. You get something works well for you, it can lift the whole side, it can change the momentum. But when things aren't clicking for you and they're running on top of you, it's really hard to fight the tide there.
Yeah, there was an interesting thing, I think, when they interviewed Membry at the end of the Richmond game, back when we were good, and he was talking about how good some of the delivery that night was, and you didn't see one fucking moment of that level of delivery, because with the pressure on, they resorted back to bombing, and they were bombing to contests, and they were bringing the ball to the ground, and there was no one. Well, I think that first goal that Bobby Hill kicked was that classic opportunistic crumb off the back of the pack. But there's plenty of times it started over the back of the pack and there's just fucking no one there.
Yeah.
And you go, well, what's your setups like? If you're going to be kicking to the big boys every time, then you're going to have someone to mop up at their feet. But where are they?
Yeah.
I think it's just still some synergy to work with. And look, it's the first time we've had 3 talls in the forward line. I don't think it's going to last. It'd be good if it did, but I think they'll want to get Cox back in. You can't carry 2 ruckmen and those 3 boys down there.
No, I mean, it's an interesting one though. I do wonder when you look at like our success back in 2023, and we're a pretty high scoring team, but that was without a key forward. So I think it was Matthew Lloyd. I can't remember though, but I'm talking about it's almost more essential now that you have really good small forwards who can manufacture a goal out of half chances and that. And I think that's what we did really well in 2023. You had those sort of guys who would turn, Ginnivan, Hill, Elliott, they were where like the goals are coming from a lot of the time. So I think the smalls also look a little bit questionable at the moment. It's not as quick as it should be. And there's not really a lot of stock about where you can go. And the one thing too, you look at like Hill. Hill will manufacture stuff, and Elliott will do it to a certain extent. Now, I'm not saying this is a criticism of Schultz, but that's not really his game. It's not to have that X factor and all that sort of stuff. But I think you sort of need a couple of players, a couple more players who might offer that.
Who was your highlight for the game?
Probably be Perryman.
Yeah, I'd agree. I was trying to get that into the conversation.
Yeah.
I was absolutely pleasantly surprised at how effective he was. Some of his kicking was very pinpoint precise.
Yeah.
Which, what are you doing in a Collingwood jumper?
Yeah, that's a good point.
We'll fix that by about round 4. But no, he looked very, very good and composed. Again, so it's like a surprise package because, who the fuck even knew who he was before he came to us?
Yeah.
I don't look at I wouldn't know who half these GWS players are. I still don't.
Yeah, the only one...
I know there's Ricky Green and Toby Thornhill out there, but other than that, who gives a fuck about them?
Well, the only...
You see, someone posted a pic of a giant thing eating a pie, and it was meant to be like, I think it's like being teased by your younger sister. You go along, go, that really hurt, but at the end of the day, you don't really give a fuck. Like, if that was a Carlton one, I'd be angry about it. But it just shows you're just an insignificant club. You've done nothing. But no. You can't take it to something that's been around for over 100 years and go, whoa, look at me intimidating you eating a pie. Don't. It's just make a funny gag or something.
I didn't see that. So what's the picture of the pie? Was it an actual picture of a pie?
No, it was like a sketch, like a character, like a Weg type thing of the Giants mascot smiling and eating a pie. And
an actual pie?
Yeah.
That's not funny though, because you do eat actual pies.
Well, there you go.
If it was like a picture of Craig McRae, you said eating a pie, that would be funny. Because you're eating the coach, who's a pie. But
or a barrel Dix.
No, but he's like saying, he's eating a sausage roll. That's what they're there to be consumed. It's not actually that funny.
Maybe I should have looked at it from that perspective.
Oh, well, we should critique it. The only two GWS players I know, the two former Collingwood ones, Lockie Keefe and Callum Brown.
How the fuck is Lockie Keefe still playing, though?
He was good.
The funny thing is you saw him in the warm-up and he had his top off, and you're thinking, this guy's jacked. He's obviously got plenty of time to spend in the gym. Actually, I think he must have been sacked 6 years ago. It's just no one's told him. He just keeps turning up playing for free.
But he was handy, Their ruckman when Downey came out, he kept wrestling fucking Cameron, and Cameron was stupid enough to go, well, I'll wrestle you too. And then, and that Cameron fell to his knees a few times too. I was like, fucking hell, serious. Do you have any final thoughts on this sea of the game?
Nah, look, it was extremely disappointing, but not in panic stations yet. That'll be next week. I think, like I said earlier, it took a lot of us by surprise. I don't think anyone honestly thought we'd be that lacklustre. We showed moments of run and carry and effective ball use, but geez, they were fairly fucking rare. A lot of the time, we were just well and truly shut down. They did their homework on us and they stitched us up pretty badly. And I think they deserve a lot of credit for what they did.
Oh, they were great. They were great. If they could keep doing that. Did you make anything of the McRae and Kingsley altercation on the boundary?
I've never been offended by a moment of confrontation in my life as that one. Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Well, that's what Kane Corn said.
He's a Class A fuckwit.
It's actually funny because the Corn's like, he comes out and he goes, well, it's worse than the Hinkley and Ginnivan one because it's during the game. And it's like, if it's going to be heated, it would be during the game. Post-game, after you've won, which should be when you're pretty chilled and relaxed.
They've got plenty of history, those two, as if they work together and all that sort of thing. I think McRae actually did say, I've, just a bit of...
Well, what he said of their relationship. He said of their relationship's a work in progress.
Yeah. I think if McRae did this, like he was cupping someone's balls, that'd be a bit different. But he would have been just showing about how Pendlebury holds the ball, though. I think that was probably what he was saying to Kingsley.
Turtle said, wonderful to have you guys back. Spook looking like Tim Watson with the new beard.
Why do I look retarded?
Not just look.
Oh.
Yeah. Johnny Ayres, oh my God. You're back. I'm just popped, hoping you would be, but expecting you not to be. This has made my day. Go Pies.
Oh, thanks Johnny Ayres.
I seriously can't see out these glasses. This is
Don't look to me.
Legit inspo for...
Tim Watson stole my glasses.
Black and White United. The legit inspo for me making my channel. So glad you're back. Normality restored. Would love to have Ivy on my channel when I do the fan cams. How good. Go you Maggies.
We inspired him to make a channel.
Yeah.
That's nice. I mean, not too many people would be inspired to make a shit show like
No.
ours. There's some good shows on YouTube. You should look to
No,
those to be
don't say
inspired.
that.
Oh no, watch us. We're good.
I thought you guys pulled the pin for good. So did I. Great surprise to see you back. Injuries fucked us last year, but have a good feeling this year. I'd like to come back to that.
Maybe you should tell them that the timestamp says 2024.
Last year's rage quit after diabolical Sydney loss at the CG was understandable.
So I fucking told him.
And that's not your mother. Welcome back, fellas. Yay. Welcome
Epstein's
back.
mother.
Welcome back, boys. Good to see real Collingwood talk. Spook made me major of rage quitting again 4 hours ago. So I only did this a little bit while. So that was the guy who said, "Oh my God, you're back."
That was me. I posted that one.
Thank you. Glad to see the new season ushered in the change. Major upgrade of the show's major sponsor from Corona to Sapporo.
Cheers,
Jeez, look
Sapporo.
it up. Yeah. Well, it didn't get us the win. Good to see you back, boys. Glad you guys are back. Losing the set allocations to Marvel Stadium was shit last year, and it's just the same again. And since when can't they disclose the entire season's dates and times post round 15? I don't fucking know.
Do you know what the answer is to that Marvel Stadium seat debacle? Don't fucking go. It's a shithole.
Yeah.
Watch it in the pub with us. We're open to shouts.
Yeah. Captain Noob.
drink a
Somehow
lot,
Sly and Spook have returned.
that was way too clever for us. That one. I have no idea what he's talking about. Was he sign up Palpatine?
That's one of your favourite moves, though, isn't it?
Oh, it's one of many.
Yeah. Tony Shaw came out and said...
Oh,
Collingwood...
Tony Shaw, was he glad to see the Rant back, was he? What the fuck are you two doing back here wasting my time? Love, Uncle Tony.
You know, you can just turn off the channel. He said Pie should go after Jamaro Ugle-Hagan.
Why, did they steal something?
No, they said he's a gun.
Did he steal a football after training?
No, but he's a gun forward. Would you take him?
Oh, fucking oath. Well, it seems the story about him pulling a gun on... who's his teammate? What was the rumour that was going around?
Rory Lobb.
You have to stand on a ladder to pull a gun on him, wouldn't you?
Don't know, well, they're both pretty tall.
No, Lobb came out and said it's absolute bullshit. He said it was a bazooka. Who the fuck would draw a gun on Rory Lobb?
Jamie,
Jamara's got a gun. I made that gag. I should have remembered I made that gag in text.
No,
did you get it from me?
I don't read your stuff, so... If it was a choice, because the Pies have also sort of been loosely linked to going after Raoul from Gold Coast.
Raoul?
Who would you go for?
Jeez, Raoul.
Yeah, well, it's like we had the conversation too. Raoul.
Yeah.
That midfield's the issue.
Yeah. I mean, if we could have both, that'd be fucking awesome. I'm a fan of Jamara. I think he's be very good. How's it? I don't know. We don't know what the story is. How could it fall apart so quickly?
Well, you look at the Dogs though. I mean, Dunkley left. The Cray's gone. They've had players who've gone. Who was the one that just went to Bailey Smith? Went to Geelong. So there's obviously issues internally there when you get players jumping ship. They won the flag in 2016, and they've really never looked that great since. I know they made a grand final in 2020, but that was their highly compromised COVID year.
They don't have much of a track record of winning these things and maintaining success.
I'm curious, like, you know, what... I don't know anything about them, so I haven't heard anything, but in terms of, like, the administration, are they at some point going, we keep Beveridge and keep losing players, or we just sack Beveridge and then reset with the players that we got?
Bevo's been there about 600 years, hasn't he?
Since about 2015 or something. I mean, he's very much like Lee Matthews at Collingwood. When Matthews won that flag, that just brought him so much goodwill that I don't think... for me, like at Collingwood, I think they should have sacked him after 93, even though they made the finals 2 years earlier, but it felt stale. And that's the way Beveridge has felt at Dogs, but he's won the flag, so...
They've won the flag and they've made finals a lot. I mean, for them, that's probably a great achievement.
Who gives a fuck about finals if you don't win them?
Well, they would, because it's an achievement.
If that's where they've set the bar, then fuck them. They should implode, and then you can just take the players you need from them.
Gold Coast have probably relished that history.
Yeah. So actually, I saw a podcast with Jason Ackermanis, and he talked about, like, when he got fired from Brisbane, he said Matthews had effectively turned into a part-time coach. He was doing a lot of promotional shit and that away from the club. And that when he had an issue with Ackermanis, he made it Voss's responsibility to front Ackermanis. So Ackermanis goes, he made it the players against me by doing it that way. But he talked about, like, with Lee Matthews, his relationship's obviously been fractured, he goes, but it's okay now. It's like, we'll get together in the group. But he talked about, Lee's attitude seems to have changed where initially he believed he was this super coach to win these flags. But now it's sort of changed. But it's changed more now to be like, fuck, I had a really, really good team, and I was, I benefited from having this awesome list. But so I just found that interesting. I don't know. Ackermanis is known for like
talking out of his ass.
Oh, I don't say that, but he'll have his view. I mean, every side of the truth has about 14 different points of view.
This is true.
Something I really like on YouTube. So Rhett Bartlett, son of Richmond legend Kevin Bartlett, he's posting a lot of games from 81 that were playing on Sevens Big League. So like he posted recently the Collingwood Carlton game from Princess Park where we won by 9 goals and Dacos kicked 7. Just the last quarter, because that's all that existed back then. I was explaining
the big replay.
Yeah, Sevens Big. I was explaining to a couple of young guys watching the game with just saying back then, they only covered like 2 games.
Like this?
Yeah, they only covered 2 games, and you only saw like a quarter of each. And people used to talk about, fuck, there was a really great goal at Footscray St Kilda, but they didn't send any cameras out there to cover the game, so we never saw it.
They just rocked up in the last quarter.
They didn't show anything. There was just, don't you remember like Sevens Big League?
It's like Channel 7 these days then.
Yes, it's pretty fucked. Playing Port Adelaide. Saturday night, this fucking heat's insufferable. It's going to be...
Cool change by then, or was it...
It's 35 on Saturday, but the next day's 25 in rain, so you anticipate it should start...
Because we don't like the heat, you know that.
Yeah.
We don't like it. We cramp up. Are we going to win?
I think we'll smash them.
So who are they missing? Butters?
Houston,
yeah. He'll be playing.
Yeah.
So Coxie's rumoured to be...
Treadray's not in.
Ready, available, yeah. What about...
Primus is gone.
Primus is gone, yeah. It's, who else is gone?
Mark Williams. Mark
Williams is gone, yeah. Well,
Nathan Buckley.
I think we're half a chance here. Should I bet on him again this week?
In the last few years, we've done really well against them at MCG. In 2023, we smashed them. In 2024, we were down by 5 goals and then came back and beat them by about 8 goals or something. So we've traditionally done really well against them in the recent past. You'd think that the fucking embarrassing effort from Sunday would really, sort of motivate them to, even if we were to have a shit year, but to just... for this one game, fucking pull your finger out and lift some intensity. It's fucked that we have a 6-day break. This round 0 thing's an absolute...
Yeah, but they haven't played a game at all. I think we saw last year when the season started, or in previous seasons, that you often get teams fatiguing early and not gelling and all that sort of stuff. Now, obviously, we can use that excuse as well. But hopefully Port's in a similar boat and we're a bit more seasoned with one game under our belt. The sting of losing should motivate. We'll have a full MCG there, predominantly with our supporter base.
They have their own seats?
They'll have their own seats.
They moved?
Well, it's not at Marvel, so they get their own seats. Okay. Apparently at Marvel, it's like they have a big thing where they spin a ball at the start as you're walking in instead of giving you a pass.
Has anyone contacted the club about this?
Well, they should say something.
Yeah.
Will the club listen?
I don't know. Do they ever?
Who said that?
Don't know.
No, I don't know either. But if I did know, I still wouldn't say anything.
Yeah. So...
I don't know. We'll have a lot of people there. I think the odds-wise should be stacked in our favour, I would think, which means we'll probably lose by 20 goals.
Yeah, I think we should win pretty comfortably.
You said that last week.
Yeah, I know, but like there's, as I said, you had a shit game last week. Usually you come out fired up and all that. You have Houston in for the first time this week. Who do you think they'll drop? Would it be Allen or Long?
Well, I mean, I don't think we ended up getting it out of my mouth that I think Turt said was Hoskin Elliott had injured his back. That's why he was... Oh, no, I did mention it. I made that again. If he's carrying something... well, we can edit this out. We're living in the Stone Age. What was I going to say? It was
Hoskin Elliott
out. Yeah, well, if he's still sore, maybe they won't risk him. Definitely ins. I don't think Degoe's playing. I think I read... Ralph Malf say that he's going to be at least another week. How many games is this guy going to play for us again ever? Him and Titch.
Out of curiosity,
they're still employed, aren't they? They fucking turn up to work and play.
Out of curiosity, if Degoe's career was to finish tomorrow, and you look back on it, how would you sum up his career?
A highlight reel with a lot of lost potential around it.
Yeah, I mean, I put it...
not undelivered potential.
Yeah, the guys I
Fucking
watched,
gun finals player though.
yeah, the guys I watched it with, I asked them a question, and one of them summed it up best. I think he underachieved. Gun finals player, but I mean, I'm not bad mouthing him, but in terms of the grand final, he did those two awesome things, but that was pretty much the extent of his game. And
That's all he had to fucking do though.
But we've always sort of waited for him to become the 25 position game player and then kick a couple of goals every now and again.
However, I want him back in that midfield tomorrow as well. So, it's I think he's that kind of player that automatically sets your expectation level high, and what he delivers is probably exactly what's required of him, but we want more because we know he's capable of more.
Well, but the thing is, sometimes he has these exceptional games like the prelim a couple of years ago. There was that final against Geelong a few years ago, where he's getting the touches, but he's also kicking goals. And I don't expect that to happen every week. But the drop away at times is like from that to, okay, you're basically unsighted or you've done one thing. And he has the talent to, he doesn't have an All-Australian Guernsey, so I think that tells you something. And I don't think he's ever made a top 10 list of, the player rankings, which I think he's got the talent to do that too. So, just look at it and think, really wish he became that elite player we expected.
What was he now, 28, 29?
Yeah, 28, 29.
Yeah, I mean, he should be still riding the peak of his powers.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck's keeping him out this time? Was it a boo-boo on his knee or something? Did he knock something at training? Was it bone bruising or something?
Yeah,
was the thing I read after getting over the groin or whatever it is? Just fucking sort it out because we need you.
Yeah.
Nick needs you.
Yeah, I think he's vital. Him and Mitchell, I know you'd want to be moving past him, but I think right now he's pretty...
Oh, we need an in and under extractor.
Yeah.
Bad.
And I don't think that's ever going to be Ed Allen, because I don't think
he's ever going to play a game beneath his knees.
Yeah, so...
He's going to be bullocking from the hip upwards.
That's why I look at that Ned Long again, because he will sort of stand in the middle of a pack. Now, if he's your long-term solution, I don't know how he's rated inside the club. But of the guys who have on our list, he's probably the only guy who really is capable of it, unless they try something like a Quaynor in there or something like that.
Or a McCreary, because...
But he won't be the bull, he'll be the... Yeah, I mean, McCreary's another one too with, he's always been a relatively low possession getter. His specialty is his tackles and that, but you'd hope that his game would transform and add a few possessions, add a few goals.
He's even losing that ability to hit hard with the tackles. I don't know whether they're trying to get him to play a slightly different role than that Bullocker. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, extract a digit.
Anyway,
all of you come good and just win the flag again.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, all of you come good and win the flag this year.
Alright, so subscribe, like, leave comments, and we'll see you next week. Later.
You hit the post.
Yeah.
That sums up our game.